I'm sorry to tell you this, guys, but perfection is not achievable, and I'm going to explain this to you in two different ways. The first way that I want to explain this is in the absolute sense, where you achieve perfection and you are the best of the best. You make no mistakes. So there's a saying that goes that it takes 10,000 hours to become a master in a skill or craft. And so let's say that you invest the time and the energy and you spend the 10,000 hours to actually get to that level of mastery. And you decide that now that you're a master, you don't have to put in any effort. Things have become second nature. And this is a very natural thing that most people believe. It's been conditioned to us by society. But the reality is that the biology contradicts this belief. And what actually happens is that neuroplasticity works through repetition. And so by spending the time to become a master in something, you've repetitively done things over time, you refined your skills, and you improved. And so the moment that you stop, even though that you've mastered these skills and you feel very comfortable with them, they will start to undo themselves over time. So let me give you an example. Have you ever learned a language and you prepared for it, you performed really well in speaking, listening, reading, and writing, but over time you left the language for whatever reason, you no longer took that class or you're no longer visiting that country that speaks that language, and you try to do it again after some time and you're rusty. The same thing happens for any skill. What really happens here is that neuroplasticity is always adapting to changes in your environment. So if you stop putting in effort, if you stop putting yourself in that environment where you practice the skills that you've mastered, you will forget them. Or, even if you've spent all these years, yes, it may take longer for you to forget them or to become rusty, but it does happen, especially if you don't spend any time practicing. The second way that I want to talk about perfection is in the relative sense. Perfection in that you feel like you've achieved excellence before you've learned everything that there is to learn about something before you actually take action and pursue a goal. The problem with this is that the human mind is very creative, and it's natural that it wants to take information that you've gotten, and it creates new scenarios that might not exist, scenarios that may exist. And I've seen this with a lot of people. They read, study, and they never want to take action until they feel like they've learned everything there is to know about something. The problem with this is that when we actually go out and do something, our brains create action through expectation. So the brain takes all the information that we know, all the memories and past experiences that we have that are related to whatever it is that we want to do, and it creates a prediction and a plan that it executes, which is your effort. It turns out that our brains are actually really bad at predicting realistic outcomes, especially in areas that we have no experience in. So when we read content or we watch videos online, the material is presented in a very organized manner that kind of filters out a lot of the variables that are present in reality. And you can see this with children. You can see these with infants when they try to walk. Children learn to walk and to talk not by reading books or not doing anything. They have to fail. And failure is an important process in refining this expectation process that occurs in your mind. So when we actually take action and we fail, your brain internalizes that and it creates an even better prediction for the next time. And so our efforts and our skills become more refined over time, and they match the reality that we need to succeed. This doesn't happen by just reading, because we can't take into account all the variables that exist in reality. You can only achieve the great skills and the perfection that you're seeking through action. And I don't want this to discourage anybody. If anything, I think this should motivate you, because you don't have to reach perfection to be good enough to achieve what you want. If anything, this should actually lower the bar and actually make you feel comfortable that failure is a natural part of gaining skills, especially for humans. So next time that you want to achieve a goal, know that perfection is never possible because we can always improve or maintain the level of skill that we have. And the other thing is that perfection is not achievable because there's tons of variables that our brains are terrible at predicting and taking into account in terms of our efforts. And we just need to learn by doing and by failing. So keep this in mind next time that you want to set a goal or that you're studying and feeling like you need to learn more before taking action. The best way to learn is by doing, because our brains take into account a lot of subconscious variables that you're not consciously aware of, and it utilizes these to make predictions that are instantaneous. So take this into consideration and utilize this information. Pass this information along to whoever you feel needs to hear this. Thank you.